for our news bulletin. My name is Tandi Winzumara. Let's have a look at our top stories. Pope Francis acknowledges patroness of Valencia, Spain, amid horrific flooding. Judicial bias and lack of accountability, top concerns for Malawians in Afrobarometer results. Chisanko Watch urges MEC to combat voter registration misinformation with stronger public campaigns. And in other news, 9 most Mpox-affected countries in Africa to receive vaccines. We do have the details to these stories and more. To stay with us. Pope Francis has entrusted all those suffering from the tragic storms throughout Spain and especially in Valencia to Our Lady of the Forsaken. During his general audience on Wednesday, Pope Francis reiterated his closeness to those suffering from massive flooding that has left more than 200 people dead and dozens missing, and also remembered all those suffering from the brutality of war. Charity Shiranga is reading this Vatican News report.
The Holy Father was referring to an image of the Holy Virgin he had received from the faithful of Valencia, which the Pope had beside him on the stage throughout the audience. Valencia's patron saint, the Virgin de los Desamparados, appears with a lily in one hand and carrying the infant Jesus in her arms. Her posture is slightly inclined forward, which gives the Virgin her nickname, La Jeperudeta, meaning affectionately little hunchback. Spanish authorities said Tuesday that 89 people are confirmed to be missing 1 week after the catastrophic floods in the eastern Valencia region. It is the first figure of the missing to be made public. The number only corresponds to the eastern Valencia region, where 211 of the 217 confirmed deaths took place. Following his catechesis, Pope Francis also appealed for peace amid the brutality of war. He urged the faithful to pray for Ukraine, Holy Land, and Myanmar.
Charity Shilanga reading that Vatican News report. The Catholic Church in Malawi has kicked off preparations for the upcoming first ever Children Congress slated for the 30th of July to the 5th of August 2025 at Don Bosco Parish in the Archdiocese of Lilongwe. In an interview with Luntha TV, chairperson of the organizing committee for the Congress, Tina Gandolo, says they have started preparations earlier as one way of ensuring its success. During its plenary assembly in June this year, the Episcopal Conference of Malawi, ECM, approved a proposal from the Pontifical Mission Society's PMS Malawi to organize the Congress from 2025, which will bring together Catholic children from all of the dioceses in Malawi. The Congress seeks to deepen the Catholic faith, spiritual and moral values of children to become animators and agents of evangelization to fellow children and all. Bernard Manza caught up with Kandolo.
As preparatory, we have started meetings and also maybe looking for venues for the Congress, as well as accommodation for the children, as well as venues for the opening mass and also closing mass. On top of that, we also want to start fundraising for the Congress. As you know, it's a big Congress and it needs a lot of money. We expect to have not less than 1,800 children. That is 8 children per parish and 1 animator, making it 2,000. So we expect to have delegates no less than 2,000. As we prepare for the Congress, we ask parents to start getting ready, like fundraising, because we might need their support, as well as the children as well to get ready. Soon we are going to have children cloth for the Holy Childhood, which will be selling as part of fundraising as well. We expect parents to support us through buying the cloth, as well as maybe a little contribution towards the Congress.
The findings from Afrobarometer's Round 10 survey indicate that most Malawians feel government officials and politicians who commit crimes often escape punishment, highlighting widespread concerns about accountability in the country. Conducted by the Center for Social Research, the study also found that 40% of citizens believe that judges and magistrates frequently or consistently make decisions based on the influence of political leaders, government officials, or other powerful individuals rather than strictly following the law. We have more details on this report found by Bridget Wanga.
According to Director of Center for Social Research, Joseph Echunga, the perception of judicial bias raises questions about the impartiality and independence of Malawi's judicial system, which is fundamental to a fair democracy. He further said the survey openly reveals that a majority of citizens feel corruption is on the rise, with public institutions viewed as inadequately transparent and accessible.
There are several findings here. I think key is the fact that it looks like Malawians can't afford to have their cases processed. The other finding is that there's a feeling that most public officials, influential people, either go unpunished when they commit crimes, but even when they are prosecuted, the punishments, the penalties that are dished out are so lenient compared to the similar experiences with the ordinary Malawians, who the majority of Malawians feel that when they are on the wrong side of the law, the kind of punishments they get are so harsh. The other finding also was on just Malawians' view on how the judicial officer, the judges and magistrates specifically, are doing. I think there's a feeling that most of them make their decisions based on influences from political powers or other influential people instead of basing on the law.
Peter Kandulu is the Secretary General for Magistrates and Judges Association of Malawi.
There is also a perception that most of judges as well as magistrates, they are corrupt. It's a concern because most of these allegations that we hear, we do not dispute outright that there's no corruption within our members. It could be possible that some of the members are practicing this. But our humble request is always, or has always been, if there is any evidence that a judge or a magistrate is involved in corruption, their institution, either within the judiciary, there is a complaints committee, also there is an integrity committee where one could always go and launch a complaint. If not even enough, one could bring those evidences to the Anti-Corruption Bureau so that the magistrates as well as the judges should be arrested and face the law.
The report also highlights that 2/3 of Malawians oppose granting the president authority to appoint or remove the vice president, a stance especially common among urban residents, educated citizens, and those in the northern region. However, despite this opposition, a large majority across all demographics and political backgrounds believe the vice presidency is failing to serve the public and favor its abolition. Bridget Mwanoka, for Luntha News.
Chisanko Watch has urged the Malawi Electoral Commission (MEC) to carry out strong and targeted voter education campaigns to address misinformation surrounding the ongoing voter registration process. Based on feedback from its observers stationed at various registration centers, Chisanko Watch has noted instances of misinformation, including claims in some areas that taking fingerprints meant individuals had already cast their votes for the 2025 general election. Dr. Guilford Matonga, who's the chairperson of Chisanko Watch, has emphasized that such misinformation has discouraged some eligible citizens from registering, underscoring the need for continuous and thorough voter education efforts. We have more details in this report read by Phyllis Chizombe.
Bishop Matonga emphasized that as the second phase of voter registration approaches, MEC should create accessible grievance redress channels and ensure that all registration centers have ramps to provide wheelchair users and individuals with limited mobility with easy access. Addressing concerns raised by opposition parties about the eligibility of the MEC chair to oversee the elections, Bishop Matonga noted that it is premature for them to take a stance on this issue. However, he assured that they are closely monitoring the Commission's activities and will continue to observe all electoral processes carefully.
At no time has any electoral commission been accepted by all. But we are watching closely to see how the current electoral commission is performing. We are at this point in time desisting from condemning the electoral commission before it actually begins to function.
The National Registration Bureau has been challenged to quickly establish additional registration centers to comply with the High Court's decision and ensure all eligible voters possesses the necessary NRB slip required for voter registration. Political parties have been advised to encourage their supporters to participate in the following phases of the registration process without undue influence or coercion, and to desist from spreading misinformation and disinformation that discourages supporters and eligible voters from registering.
Phyllis Chizombe reading that report. A governance watchdog, Center for Democracy and Economic Development Initiative, CEDED, has asked the electoral body Malawi Electoral Commission MEC to postpone phase 2 of the ongoing voter registration exercise. The appeal comes amidst concerns by various sections of society on preparations of next year's elections. CEDED Executive Director Sylvester Lamiwa has told Luntha TV that the group is also demanding the resignation of MEC chairperson Annabel Mtalimanja over her alleged connection to the Malawi Congress Party, as well as the resignation of the Chief Elections Officer, Mr. Andrew Bessie. He said that among other issues, CEDED is also demanding immediate termination of the Smartmatic contract and stoppage of the use of the electoral management devices EMDs, saying that it is not a good system that should be trusted for the 2025 election. Here is part of what Namiwa had to say.
So much that all the contentious issues surrounding the registration should be dealt with to the satisfactory levels of all stakeholders. Needless to emphasize that in every transparent, fair and credible electoral process, the voter is always the king. Now, we have witnessed unprecedented levels of impunity and arrogance. It is for this reason that we are challenging the Electoral Commission to take heed of our demands. That is, one, they should immediately cancel a contract they have with Smartmatic. It doesn't reflect well that the whole Electoral Commission should be involved or should go to bed with a company.
Pope Francis acknowledges patroness of Valencia, Spain, amid horrific flooding. Judicial bias and lack of accountability, top concerns for Malawians in Afrobarometer results. Chisanko Watch urges MEC to combat voter registration misinformation with stronger public campaigns. And in other news, 9 most Mpox-affected countries in Africa to receive vaccines. Proceeding with the news, the country's Ministry of Health has introduced a stepwise quality improvement program to enhance healthcare service delivery. Secretary of Health Dr. Samson Mdolo says awarding health facilities based on quality care and standards is key to improvement. Emmanuel Schwarcher has filed this report.
The program assesses institutions on leadership, management, and care quality, ensuring a star rating accordingly. recent evaluation revealed that most public hospitals, including Kamuzu Central